So over the weekend, when I hit up this room with some drywall mud and basically filled in any big holes and kind of tackled a little bit of some of the smaller ones. But there's all of these little ones. So right now it's Wednesday, and I took some of the mud and I've thinned it out a bit, and I'm just kind of going over these little bits here, these little tiny holes. Like we got one right there. Just kind of filling that in. And then tomorrow when I get home from work, I'll go ahead and sand all this, and it should be looking pretty good. I should be able to go over it one more time with some even thinner mud, one final sanding, and then it should be ready for its first coat of primer. So I've primed the room. It took every bit of 2 gallons to cover up the blue and purple that was on the wall. But it's primed, and I can start painting tomorrow. Right now I'm cleaning the floor. I got quite a bit of drywall mud and paint on the floor. But I've gotten everything from there over cleaned. I don't have a mop, so I'm using a sponge. And this brown water is just 4 rows. So I gotta dump this out, make a new bucket, and come back out here and do it again. I'll probably go through 2-3 more buckets to get this room done. So this is interesting. The primer appears to have had a reaction with the old paint and caused this whole section on this wall to peel up. Not sure what exactly to do about it except for to sand it and give it another go. So I don't know what caused the interaction between the primer and the old paint, but it's basically limited to this section right here and this section right here. These were both white. The blue in the original paint started here and kind of worked up and over. Actually, I think this was blue too. But I don't know what caused it, but this seems to be helping. Terrible sound, but it's working much better than the sandpaper was. So I've scraped this all clear, and it may be easy to say that this has something to do with that, but this goes down in the floor, and it's actually a return air from here. So it's not heat coming up through there causing whatever this is. But I've scraped it all clear, I've sanded it, so there's gonna be some ridges here. I didn't get any interaction with the primer and anywhere that I put drywall mud. So I think what I'm gonna do, and I also didn't get any interaction between the mud and the old paint. So I think what I'm gonna do is try to just entomb this whole area and this whole area in mud, let it set, go back, sand it, make it smooth. While it's setting, go to the store, get some more primer, and see how that works out for me. All right, so I've entombed that whole section in mud. Same with this section. And there were a couple other small spots where I just didn't see nicks and dings and whatever because the everything was such inconsistent color. But now that it's all one smooth color, it's pretty easy to see them. So I put these on a little bit thick yesterday. They took basically the rest of the day and into the night to set properly. But I've sanded them now. I've gone through, I've put filled into the small holes. I can go and sand it up a little bit later on. This one had a bit more, but I'm gonna do the same thing I did yesterday. I'm just gonna go find something else to do while this sets up. It's kind of crazy to think that most of the stuff used to fit in a single 10 by 20 storage unit and a bedroom. But anyways, out of the back of the Bronco, I pulled the engine. As you can see, needs a few parts. Transfer case, need to rebuild it. C6 automatic, need to rebuild it. So I've just finished repriming. The darker spots are the wet primer. You can see here, I did the windowsills, and this will be, I bet, is a fairly controversial thing to do. These are not wood, these are actually stone. The problem is, the day I came and first looked at this house or got access to the inside of this house, these windows were open and these were stained, they were wet. There's mold growing on them. Since then, I've got some mold armor, sprayed them, cleaned it up. It appears to have killed everything. I don't know if you ever use mold armor, but open all the windows before you ever use that stuff. It literally lets off smoke. It's a hell of a thing. But I've cleaned those up. The problem is the stains aren't going away. So I decided the best thing is just paint over it. Long term, when I gut this room and redo it all, the wall's gonna stick out further than these anyway. So they're gonna have to go if they're gonna not be set in from the wall. So I might as well just tackle them now, make them look good now. I think I'll do, since this wall is gonna be white, I think I'll do this in the gray that matches the other wall. And since that wall will be gray, I think I'll just do this one in white. And they'll just kind of stand out a little bit from each other. So I've gone through, I've removed the walls, I've removed all the shelves. This shelf appears to be built into the wall some, so I'm just gonna leave it. But the space is a lot better now. I'm gonna move all the blueprints from downstairs. I also wanna replace this fluorescent tube with a white one, and I got a pile of them outside, so I can just find something that has that same label, and it should match. And at the same time, I'm working on the bedroom right above us. While things are drying in the bedroom, this is one of the projects I decided to tackle. I already moved a couple shelves, but this blue stuff, it's a weird waxy-like thing. I'm not sure if it's a candle or something else, but it's in a lot of these shelves, and a lot of them are just in poor shape. But there is some wood I removed from the IT room that's in really great shape. So I figure I'm just gonna remove all these, use them as templates, cut new pieces, put them in here, and then I can start actually using this. So it didn't take long to find the first problem. This wire is actually going through this shelf all the way down through the subfloor, and it goes to this outlet. And not only is it not even close to being run to code, but it's way, way, way undersized. So you can see the wire coming through the floor there, and it runs over, down, and it solves the mystery of what this plug was. So the good news is it's safe to remove, but it was just really dumb to be like that in the first place. So this is the wood from the IT room. It's actually in pretty good shape. And I was wondering how I was gonna cut this. Maybe I'd figure use a couple trash cans as a sawhorse, and then I realized the floor is open, so I can just use the joist as my sawhorse. This is a good example of one of the boards. If you touch this, you actually get some blue on you. But basically I'm plopping it on here, measuring it in, pop the square in, remove it, draw a line, cut it, pop it in place. And if I need to, I'll just trim another 1/8 off of it or so to get it to fit in place. It's one of those small projects, it only took an hour or so, but I don't have a dresser, so I can at least throw my clothes in here and they can stop sitting on the old organ out in the living room. All right, so I've painted the white section of the bedroom upstairs. This is kind of where I clean up all the stuff and grabbed all the pegboard stuff that was around and made this thing to hang stuff up. I started using some Barkeeper's Friend to clean up this sink. It's looking a lot better. If anybody has any tips on cleaning this up, especially this rust, that'd be fantastic. And there's some corrosion here. That'd probably just end up having to replace this. These don't, that's no big deal to replace those. But if anybody has some tips on cleaning up porcelain, that'd be fantastic. I've moved all the plans from upstairs down here. Turns out this is all wallpaper. It is not blueprints. But basically, I'm gonna start going through these, taking pictures of them, see what's in good shape just to send off to my friend and see what he can restore and frame. But I'm gonna start taking pictures of these and putting them up on the blog at dirtpickle.com. So keep an eye on that for in the next couple of weeks, and I'll start getting some stuff up there. There's some more stuff over here, plans and whatnot. There's some really interesting travel stuff that I got to give back to the family that I bought this from. But I think I'm going to take pictures of it and see what I can post from them first. And there's some more stuff up here, including the drawing of what this house, one of the plans that they're originally going to use for this house. And then there's one of the kids' art, and same thing, some more of this stuff. See if I give them back. But if we run upstairs real quick. So I originally wanted this to be done completely painted today. But it turns out with the bubbling and peeling primer set me back, and a little bit of touch-up work set me back. Also, it turns out 1 gallon of white was just barely enough to do that wall, the closet, and the ceiling, which makes me question if the 1 gallon of blue is gonna be enough to do that, and that. I don't think so, so I'm gonna order some more. And basically, I'm gonna paint this wall, let them dry, and then do that wall. I do need to pick up a little bit more white to do this windowsill with. And then this should be fully painted, and then I can start doing trim and stuff later this week.